camera see right.
Oh,
We have been, I guess, involving ourselves with different couples who have essentially been uh, fearful while they travel to different countries, and meaning that they're okay on the resort, but they are fearful of traveling outside.
countries, saying how he was scared because of what he had seen on TV about different countries and being told to not go off of the resort. And I was just asking him, I said, so what's the point of traveling if you're going to stay on the resort? All resorts are pretty much the same. And he couldn't give me an answer, but he was like really fearful and timid. Even when I was talking to him and speaking to him, he was acting a little bit fearful of me. And I just, it took me like it was. I was just taken aback on his reaction because he was so young and had so much life and vibrant, and he was living in fear, like he was trapped in his own space. Like,
Yeah, and and I was telling her when we started traveling together, I said we're gonna go to all these countries, we're gonna go to all these resorts, and they're gonna be the same. It's gonna be free drinks, well not free drinks, but drinks included, food included. It's gonna be a beautiful beach. People are gonna be super nice. The only thing difference is the people
right.
that you go to all these Caribbean and tropical islands, and whether it be Aruba, Honduras, Belize, Jamaica, Mexico, Dominican Republic, doesn't matter. It's about the people because the resorts will be pretty much the same. It's going to have decent decor to great decor, depending on the luxury package that you actually get. It's going to be roughly around the same price, except by location. If you're going to Mexico, Cabo is more expensive than the other parts of Mexico. I think the next is Puerto Vallarta. If you go to Aruba, that's considered expensive. If you go to, there's some other places in the English Virgin Islands that are pretty much expensive as well to travel. But other than that, you're going to experience the same sort of comfortability and serviceability, meaning
Right.
the people are going to serve you. You're going to be on a resort. You're going to have all-inclusive food, all-inclusive drinks. But the major difference is the people, and the only way to really get to know the people is to get out your resort. Like the
Where the
people,
people are.
yeah, the people on a resort, they're going to be super nice. It's their job, essentially. But you can tell the difference that they're being more genuine more times than Americans because, you can go to a restaurant and be somebody's job to serve you whatever steak
And
or
they have a bad attitude.
they have a horrible attitude, right? But some of these countries, like they actually either one enjoy or there's two genuine people. So with that being said, a lot of people are afraid to travel outside the resort. Everywhere I've been, I've always been outside the resort. Um, Most times than not, because that's the way you're going to actually experience the real culture and the real people and how they essentially intertwine. I mean, what did you get today when we went outside into the Trailway Parish that we're actually that the resort is actually in Montego Bay, Jamaica? What did you get from it?
I feel like the people were genuine. They were just pretty much doing their own thing. Like, I feel like as a tourist, when you go out, if you worry about people, then people are worried about you. But pretty much people are just coming and going, living their day-to-day life. They're not, unless you, like I was telling the couple, there's bad areas, there's bad people every country you go to. But as long as you're not in those type of areas and you're not looking for trouble, more than likely you're not going to find it. The people were chill, nice. I had spoken to a lady at the restaurant we went to. She was very sweet, very kind. She was like, "You want to go with me? I'll take you to show you, whatever I was looking for." Just kind-hearted, good, genuine people. And traveling, that's all I've ever met. Now, is there bad people? I'm sure, but I haven't encountered that in my experience. So that's what I felt like.
I mean, and definitely another fear for travel is this. What black people need to understand when we travel, more times than not, we are the majority, especially anywhere tropical, except besides Mexico. But you go to St. Lucia, St. Vincent, Trinidad and Tobago, Cuba, you go to Brazil, Jamaica, shoot, what's the other ones, babe? The tropical islands. Honduras, Bahamas. Yeah, thank you. All of these are black people. Majority of the population is black people. So black people should essentially, you shouldn't be fearful but you should be, of course, aware of your
Aware.
surroundings. I mean, we're
Yeah.
from most black people. 95% of us are probably from low, impoverished, dangerous neighborhoods. So still have your wits about you. But not only do you blend in, but people are more accepting. Now, the couple who she's referring, I think she
Yeah.
was from. Yeah, we don't know where she's from, but he was fearful of going outside. He didn't know what to expect, and
And
I brought
fearful
up.
and fearful is an underestimate of
Yeah,
how he
yeah,
was portraying himself. He
yeah.
was
He
very,
was
very, very
scared.
scared. Yeah,
Yeah,
very scared.
he was petrified. Let's just say that he was
Exactly.
petrified
Exactly.
to go outside. And I say, hey, is that because you're white and you're in a black country? And he's like, oh, I never thought about that. Bullshit. He thought about that. Because listen, when I went to Korea, when I went to Japan, I said, hey, up, I'm going to a country where the majority of the people are Asian. You get what I'm trying to say? So
Yep.
I was fearful. I was a little bit like, okay, what should I expect? Are they, violent people? Are they racist people? I want to know all the information. So essentially, a lot of times, this is just my own opinion. Let's get that right, my own opinion. I believe when a lot of Caucasians travel to different countries, it's two things. One thing, they believe they're better than the people and they have this white superiority, so they're not fearful at all. They just think they can just go about whatever and they're not going to be touched. Or second, you have those who are like very aware, like, hey, how do I know they're really that accepting of white people?
Right.
I understand what's happening in the past with the history. So a lot of them may be fearful because, like, hey, it's nothing but black people. And I was told that black people are like this and black people are like that. And this country is even poorer than America. How are those black people? So these are some of the things you can actually see people. They're very timid. They feel somewhat fearful of their surroundings, even though they're willing to travel to a different country, stay on the resort, stay protected. They're not willing to go out and indulge in the culture nor the traditions.
And I feel like what's the use of, like I told him, what's the use of traveling? You go to different countries to experience the culture there, the food there. Now, the food on the resort is going to be like the food outside the resort, but you're going to get the more authentic food, the more authentic culture because you're getting it from the locals. It's not modified to the way the people on the resort want to have it. They're trying to cater and they're trying to cater to the masses on the resort. Outside, they're eating their local food. What did we have today? We had
We had You had jerk chicken,
No, I had curry chicken.
curry
and,
chicken,
Panini.
benin. What was the name of that bread?
It was like terrine.
And no, the bread or whatever the patty was made out of cassava, right?
Yes, yes.
And then I had maybe fried dumplings that
You
was
had
like
fried dumplings,
bread or
right.
something like that. But nonetheless, you're not going to get the authentic food on a resort because it's watered down and it's almost essentially westernized, right? Because
Exactly.
most Western countries come to the Caribbean, come to the Bahamas because it's a cheaper vacation for them. Okay.
Paradise on a dime.
Yeah,
pretty
paradise on
much.
the dime, pretty much.
Yeah.
And essentially, they bland the food so they can accept it. Because, traditionally, Caucasian people don't eat spicy food.
Right.
That comes mostly from Africa, by the way of India, because you understand that the Moors took spices like curry and jerk and all those other spices to India. Some people think that curry originated in India. That's absolutely false. It originated in Africa because the Moors was explorers. They even helped all these other countries to modernize their societies with sewage and drainage systems. So I'm not going to get into that. That's a whole other history lesson. But nonetheless, the point is you should not be fearful. You should be aware. You should be informed no matter what color you are going to any country. Okay? Because me personally, I'm not going to lie. I don't think about going to Russia. I heard a lot of bad things, and that's stereotypical.
Yeah.
I know that's going against everything about this thing, but I don't have no desire to go to Russia. I don't know. There's nothing there other than see Russian art museums and even though,
You know what's crazy
even though,
to me though?
let me say this one thing.
Okay.
Even though people don't understand, there was a black Russian who was actually head of all the army in Russia. I forgot his name. I think his name was Puskin or something like that, but he was a black Russian. Nonetheless, go ahead, sweetie.
But what was crazy to me is what I did notice is even though that a lot of people are scared to travel to our countries, and I say our, I'm talking about black people. What I realize is they'll come over here and get a business. We just went to a gift shop that was ran by an Indian family that's from India, not Jamaican. He wasn't born here.
You said been over here 4 years.
He's been over here 4 years and have a gift shop. It's just crazy. It's just crazy to me. And it was kind of cliche to me because I was like, what's your name? He was from India and his name was Raul, but he was in Jamaica. I don't know, that was funny to me. But anyways, and we need to start like going, like we'll go and say, oh, we want to start a business or we want to thrive and do better. We'll move to like a lot of Africans that move to Europe or something like that. Why won't we go to these countries that are people like us and start gift shops or liquor stores or whatever it is you want to start, hair stores, things of that nature? Why don't we travel like that and get established in our own countries and build those up? I mean, and make the economy better. It was crazy to me because everywhere I go, there's an Indian, and I don't have anything against Indian people, but I'm just thinking of their mindset. They go to poor countries and they start businesses, and we don't do that. And I mean,
Because all the poor countries are ours.
right.
Majority of the poor countries are melanated people. Don't get me wrong, there's poor countries where Asians, there's poor Caucasians with either so-called white people, but we know by far the majority of poor countries are from melanated people.
Right.
And what we're saying is they come to our ancestry, the root place, the birthplace of all life, like Africa and all these other indigenous islands that was bred with the descendants of Africans. And they start these businesses and they profit off the Western world because the Western world is how the majority of them get most of their income. Because today, our driver, he said, the majority of our income is from tourism from America and Europe. Okay?
Yeah.
From tourism. He said our number one export, we thought it was sugar, cocaine, even though they do that, is aluminum.
Right.
Aluminum. And I guess they're not making that much off aluminum. And the next couple of days here, they're going to go into a lockdown. We're going to be fine. We're on the resort. We still got a couple of things to do that we haven't done yet. But nonetheless, the issue is that they come over here and they start businesses, but we are afraid to leave America. We are so shell-shocked. We are so in trauma because of white supremacy. First and foremost, our lives are not even together to even go travel. And then when we started to go traveling, we traveled to places like Vegas. Vegas is nowhere. Vegas is going
It's in
to
the United States.
Yeah, Vegas is a bunch of buildings where you're going to gamble, spend money, and party and drink. Why not do that in paradise? Why not do that in such a gorgeous, beautiful place? And guess what? The people look like you besides Mexico. Majority of the people look like you besides Mexico where you're going to travel with. Okay? So when people talk about, I'm going to the Bahamas, it don't matter what race of people you are. You say, I'm going to the Bahamas, I'm going to St. Vincent. Show you. A lot of times you go to these countries, and the majority of people you see are light skinned. When I went to the Dominican Republic, a lot of the people that worked on the resort was actually light skinned. But when me and my buddy Mike, we went down to Santo Domingo, most of the people were dark skinned. So essentially, even with Puerto Ricans, they have light to dark, but most Puerto Ricans are kind of her tone. You'll see most Puerto Ricans, but you'll see dark skinned Puerto Ricans like myself. But majority of us think Puerto Ricans are what? Mostly light skinned, but most of them are brown skinned. I mean, that is, I've been to Puerto Rico. I've been mostly in the San Juan area, and I know there's more indigenous people just like in Mexico. If you go to Veracruz, there's dark-skinned, there's Afro-Mexicans. A lot of people don't talk about it. There are Afro-Mexicans. So we essentially, when we start to be racist against other people, we are essentially being racist against ourselves because we are mixed with almost everybody else.
Right.
Look up Veracruz and look up Afro-Mexicans. As a matter of fact, one of Mexico's presidents was African. One of Mexico's presidents was African. So when I go and I travel all these places, I'm like, hey, these are essentially somewhat some remnants of our people. Not culturally, not traditionally, because we've been spread out and we develop other traditions and cultures, but essentially all of us are coming from the same place. And even those people in those countries are so confused and they believe white superiority is higher. So people strive to be white. Because even in Jamaica, I talked to the driver and we're talking about how a lot of Jamaicans are bleaching their skin because they're trying to get away from their blackness. And they're burning their skin, they're damaging their skin, all to look whiter. And this is an issue when we don't love ourselves. See, in Kanye's song we were just listening to, he said they teach us. See, they're the teacher. They teach us to hate ourselves and love their wealth. So that's why you get so many people loving money and not the people. And that's why, again, can't stress this enough, why financial literacy 101 exists, because I want to teach people this essentially like, yes, I started a business from it, and I should get a little bit money from, with my hard work, research, and my due diligence and giving information out. But if you notice, you compare me to anybody else dealing in finance, I'm cheap. I'm cheap because I necessarily don't do it for the money per se. Okay, everybody should get paid some sort of revenue for their hard work, but it's the information that's most important to multiply your finances. Got anything else, honey?
Anything else?
Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is Financial Literacy with my baby. Hopefully you found some value in this conversation. And when you get the opportunity, when you get your finances right, travel, and enjoy your time. Peace.